It's been a complete lesson going through my archives this year, when all 60,000 pictures or so with all different relationships I was involved with, male, female, and otherwise, institutionally and otherwise, all kinds of demonstrations, et cetera, I went on, and folks that I met through the civil rights work and so on and so forth. But basically, I was interested in the viscerality of the experience. I might have been in the middle of a fucking riot. Like, should I go out and photograph demonstrations? Should I go out and do that? Well, I did that all my life. I'm just holed up here in my protected universe, photographing microcosms. Fractalizing on one of my very, very rare psychotropic trips under the psilocybin mushroom. The little camera and me, virtually dove into a little frog pond, which is treacherous. Lovers, in the pond. Lovers in the pond.
Here I am in this big meeting, right before we're ready to go to work, and I say, well, it's clear, you have the wrong photographer. And while I let them murmur for a while, I said, but by the way, you have the right photographer. Because I'm a photographer, just like any other photographer you might have hired. We have skills. We can operate the way that you want to be. We make us operate. You don't have to, Come on,
Yeah.
Let's be real. So let's go to work.
No. Before then you said, but I need to run this by my wife first.
That's right.
Music is the thing that provides you with hope because it addresses all of the emotions without necessarily being specific about the language itself. I wanted to see where the music came from, so I wanted to meet with my eyes the people that I admired so much. I can't sing, but I can certainly think about singing, and there's nothing more beautiful than a thoughtful tone. I love you, baby. Next picture, please. Art was always a service institution in terms of communication. When I photograph, somehow been able to develop a way of seeing which actually lets you inside the experience rather than showing you a picture of it. The point is that the best pictures serve something deeper than that. Lisette Modell used to say about photography is that it's probably the hardest art because it's the easiest. Photography is a good subject because it's generous in its application to perceiving many different levels of things in so to speak, in real life. That's the whole deal about teaching, is that you don't teach a subject. You teach a person how to see for themselves about what they are. I used to say in class that if you don't take a chance, you don't get a chance, because photography is very much to do about chance. And so it's that kind of search.
Larry, I want to fancy you an outlier, but I feel like life behind a lens can be a very solitary job.
I felt that way too. Yeah, and I was always alone because I was always, like, people would go to parties and stuff like that, and Christmas time, all the big signature events, I would always somehow or another find myself to be isolated. It's not simple to attempt to be a poet. One thing is to remember is, like in jazz, you have to dare to blow it. So blow hard, interior winds. Let a spiritual tornado come from your lips. It is the only way to endure. What artists do, I think, is an act of generosity, even though it comes out of an egocentricity, which is that they try to create something of themselves. You contribute to the collective culture. You, singular you, with your lucky spew. You give everything you can and what you do. I think it's the only thing that I have any control over is the singular beauty that my eye can see. Anybody who's optimistic and ebullient
is by definition brooding and dark at the same time. You can't not.
So basically photography was in a sense, a license to enter into worlds that are not your own. What's it like? It's like being in love. Wish I had my camera. These guys are funny looking.